Hello, my name is Harry Jackson, and welcome to another session of the Footprints of History series. Today I'll be discussing the 1925 Scopes Monkey trial. And as you see from the Baltimore Sun newspaper article from July 5th, 1925, just days before the trial, we have a gentleman identifying both on the modernist side, the evolutionist side, and the fundamentalists. We have clergy on both sides. One says no problem. The other one says, no, I will never let my children learn that. And the scientists are likewise in that realm. But before we move on to that, first let's explain a few things about the trial itself. First of all, it was never a trial of science versus religion. That was a media myth. It was a media hoax, if you want to call it that, from the people of Dayton, Tennessee, perpetrated by the ACLU. But S.L. Harrison, in his article on the anatomy of the Scopes trial, Menken's media event, identified that H.L. Menken, the editor of the Baltimore Sun, enlisted the aid of Henry Osborne and the ACLU to basically create a media smear campaign against William Jennings Bryan, a person that he did not regard very highly. The interesting thing is about them and the colleagues that played a part is that they were all evolutionists. They were all of the elite group, and most of them were eugenics minded individuals. This article I chose, it's an example of the media preparing the public for the oncoming onslaught, the attacks on the fundamentalists and William Jennings Bryan. What I found interesting was that the modernists aligned themselves with the evolutionists. After all, they could throw out the pesky rules that they didn't want, but the fundamentalists argued back, saying, "No, you have to follow all the rules that are in the Word of God. You have to follow the words." Julian Huxley, the grandson of Thomas Huxley, in a talk show once, apparently said that he supposes the reason why they jumped on the origin of species was because the very idea of God interfered with their sexual mores. Sounds like a biblical issue to me. Anyway, William Jennings Bryan had a twofold reason for standing up. One, he said that there was no evidence for evolution, and in 1925, we had Piltdown Man debunked as a hoax in 1953. Peking Man was lost in 1941, so we can never analyze it whether it was true or not. And number three, the Nebraska Man was debunked in 1927, but Henry Fairfield Osborne, the finder of that fossil, knew that it was not a human artifact in June of 1925, refused to give that information in the media. So the other issue was defense of the poor, and this is where Bryan was once again right. It was a biblical mandate to defend the poor, and he stood up against the elitist eugenists of the day, just like he did the miners and union workers and women and other people. And as a result, well, he dies 3 days after the trial, so he couldn't defend them anymore. And the eugenics rules spread across the country. 70,000 forced sterilized U.S. citizens, and also thanks to Charles B. Davenport, our U.S. eugenists, 250,000 in Germany are forced sterilized, and 11 million people are executed by the Nazis, all in the name of evolution and eugenics. Thank you, Charles B. Davenport. By the way, he wrote the very first article against William Jennings Bryan in that media campaign in 1925. So this should have been a modernist fundamentalist discussion. Instead, it was a media campaign and a smear campaign against William Jennings Bryan. Thank you. Have a great day.